What's up, investors and people of Reddit, it's the Russian Dude, and this is your daily update on Russian-Ukrainian war as of Thursday, April 14th. And as always, I have two major stories to talk about with you today. First is the escape of some Russian government officials from main cities. At least three different reasons can be highlighted, but the main question remains the same. Are they just abandoning their own people as soon as there were first signs of threat? Please stay for this part of the video and you will get your answer. And second is the destruction of the Russian Navy flagship called Moskva. While it may sound insignificant, this event can easily be a turning point in this war. And if you want to know what I mean by that, please keep watching the video. I will also briefly present some other events and news that happened today. Yesterday, Russian officials have made a statement that in case Ukraine continues to attack the territory of Russia, Russia will have to use the firepower against decision-making cities, including Kiev. In response to that, the advisor to Ukrainian President Alexei Arestovich mentioned that in case Kiev will be bombed, Ukraine will respond by bombing capital of Russia, Moscow. Here we have a flight map of special planes possibly taking away higher government officials away from Russian capital Moscow. And even though this is just one picture, there has been other evacuations from other major cities inside Russia. And there are at least three possible reasons why would government officials of Russia decide to abandon their citizens. First of all is the response from Ukraine about the possibility of bombing Moscow in response to Russia bombing Kiev, which I would personally say makes the most sense. The only one thing I cannot understand is why would Russians provoke Ukrainians so much, and as soon as there is first signs of threat, they escape the city as soon as possible. And I mean, they do it without saying anything to the people of Russia. They just constantly escalate the situation by making such provocative statements, then they just go to safe zone and let the people of Russia deal with consequences. Just compare this behavior with the behavior of Ukrainian officials who still remain inside their cities. The second reason why would they leave major cities, it is because it has been reported by various media sources that Russia is indeed planning to start using nuclear weapons. And I mean, I don't want to believe that this is the main reason, and I sincerely hope that this is the least probable case scenario. And the third reason, which is also pretty much questionable, is that these Russian officials try to escape the wrath of Putin. As you might already know, earlier this week Putin has purged approximately 150 Federal Security Service agents. And so basically those officials who are trying to escape right now just do not want to be the next ones. In this video we can see the bombings of Gorky Park in Kharkov, Ukraine. And I don't know about you, but this does not seem like a military object. And by the way, if you like this style of daily news reporting, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, I will be donating all of my Patreon memberships at the end of each month to Ukraine. And if you want to be a part of this group donation, please make sure to check the link in the description. Yesterday, Zelensky have met with the presidents of 4 European countries, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia. And today we were able to receive some highlights from this meeting. First of all, they were talking about sanctions against Russia, especially against Russian oil and gas. Because according to Zelensky, this is the main cash flow that just continues to fund this war in Ukraine. He then also asked the parliament and people of Estonia to help participate in the post-war reconstruction of Ukraine. Zelensky also mentioned that USA is ready to send another batch of weapons worth approximately $800 million. He then also mentioned that Prosecutor General of International Court of Justice has visited Bucha, Ukraine. He saw all the consequences of Bucha massacre and he assured Zelensky that Russia will answer for these crimes. And finally, Zelensky concluded that the main concentration of Russian forces is now in the south and east of Ukraine. And besides that, Russian army is actively mobilizing Ukrainians from these occupied territories. In this video, we can see a resident of Kharkov trying to get to his apartment by rope, while simultaneously a part of the building collapses below him. Today, the Russian Navy flagship called Moskva has been sunk by Ukrainian forces using Neptune missiles. And while this event might sound insignificant, in fact it is, because this has been the biggest ship that Russia had in that territory, which basically means that Russia has now significantly less firepower to attack the south of Ukraine. And besides that, there will be less protection for Russian forces in the same territory, which makes the counterattack of Ukraine to be much easier. It has been reported that the ship was hit approximately at 1 AM and just 5 minutes later the ship has sent SOS signal. 14 minutes later the ship started leaning on the left side and 47 minutes later, the ship has lost all the electricity. Approximately 1 hour and 7 minutes after the attack, 54 Russian Navy soldiers were rescued by the Turkish ship. And finally, 1 hour and 48 minutes after the bombing, Turkey and Romania acknowledged that the ship has sunk. It is also worth mentioning that flagship Moskva was carrying around 500 Navy soldiers, and among those only 54 were rescued. Though the main position of the Ministry of Defense of Russia was that every single crew member was rescued and the ship was never sunk. Besides being a massive source of firepower of Russian army, the ship has been the biggest loss of Russian army as well, which is, as you can see from this picture, the estimated price of flagship Moskva was approximately $750 million. And just now at 4 p.m. April 14th, approximately 12 hours after the ship has sunk, the Ministry of Defense of Russia also acknowledged that yes, ship was sunk. But their main reasoning was not because it was destroyed because of Ukrainian missile called Neptune. So now please pay attention, this is the official statement from the Ministry of Defense of Russia regarding why the ship was destroyed. According to them, a fire has started on the flagship Moskva, which led to the detonation of one of the missiles. Because of this, the ship was damaged, but it was still able to be floating. Russian army tried to tow away the flagship Moskva, but because of the sea storm, it sank. In this video we can see a woman dressed like Ukrainian fake killing a person who represents a Russian ISIS style by cutting his throat. The killing is obviously not real, but this is just made to raise the awareness about the situation in Ukraine. And by the way, according to current meta policies, which includes Facebook and Instagram, this video is perfectly normal to be shared on Instagram. As you might know, there are currently presidential elections going on in France. And at this very moment there are two potential winners, the current president of France Emmanuel Macron and challenger Marine Le Pen. Yesterday I made an assumption that Marine Le Pen could have been connected with Russia because of her statement that in case she wins in these presidential elections, she will make France leave NATO. And before you know it, in today's interview she stated that she denies the fact that there is a genocide in Ukraine, which I think only reinforces my assumption that she might be connected to Russia. But wait, there is more. In her past interviews she also mentioned that she is banned from being in Ukraine, and the main reason of this it is because she declined to acknowledge the fact that Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. So there you have it. If you also think that she might be a Russian infiltrator in France, please let me know in the comments. In this map we can see the current state of this so-called military operation in Ukraine. As you can see, the north of Ukraine was completely liberated by Ukrainian army. And now, since the Russian Navy flagship Moskva was sunk in the south of Ukraine, probably Ukrainians can start retaking back the south of Ukraine. But so far, the main concentration of Russian forces will be on the east of Ukraine. And if you want to see more details, feel free to pause the video. Today, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, made a statement that Russia will either have to take a part of these negotiations or it will forever disappear from the political arena. Earlier today, a border checkpoint between Russia and Ukraine has been allegedly attacked by Ukrainian forces. And in this video, we can also see a village in Bryansk region, Russia, also being under attack. Some people say that yes, indeed, these are Ukrainians attacking the territory of Russia, while in the meantime, other people say that this is once again Russians attacking their own territory so that they can justify the further invasion to Ukraine. It has also been reported that Belgorod region of Russia has also been under missile strikes. The ex-president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, mentioned that in case Sweden and Finland will join NATO, Russia will have to respond to this. And response in this case means increasing the military presence in the borders with Finland, as well as activating nuclear weapons. A couple of days ago, one of the best friends of Putin, Viktor Medvedchuk, was captured by Ukrainian army. For those of you who do not know who he is, briefly, he is supposedly a Russian infiltrator on the territory of Ukraine, whose main goal was to destabilize the country from the inside. So 2 days ago he was captured, and today Ukraine started to confiscate his properties. And among such properties are 30 lands, 32 apartments, 23 houses, 17 parking spots, and 26 luxury cars, which obviously not something as just regular plain opposition leader can ever achieve in his life. Today the representative of Austria mentioned that Putin agreed that they will continue selling gas to Austria for euros. The press secretary of Russia, Dmitry Peskov, mentioned that Putin does not deny the fact that he might need to meet Zelensky in person. And the reason why they're not doing this yet, according to him, it is because there are no significant reasons to discuss. A couple of weeks ago, the Minister of Defense of Russia, Sergei Shoigu, disappeared from the public eye. Then he returned for a couple of days, and the reason for this disappearance was alleged heart attack. While many people thought that he was being punished by Putin because of his failure in Ukraine. And today, according to to Leonid Nevzlin, who is a Russian oligarch who escaped to Israel, who still has ties to the higher government officials in Russia, says that now Sergei Shoigu is out of the game for long term. He said that he is suffering second heart attack, which might be way more significant than the first one. It is rumored that this second heart attack is not because of natural conditions. Besides that, approximately 20 generals of the Ministry of Defense of Russia were also arrested. All of them are potentially being prosecuted because they were stealing money from the budget, but I think all of us know the main reason. Thank you so much for your attention, stay safe, and see you tomorrow.